Yo, hey, what's going on? Charles Austin here. And let's be fit forever, y'all. So today I want to talk to you a little bit like you see on the screen already. We're going to talk a little bit about fiber, all right, and why fiber is awesome, all right. So as you can see right up here, we got plenty of wonderful foods that you can choose from. We got some spinach over here. We got some bananas over here. Apples, bananas. I'm sorry, I said bananas already. Brussels sprouts, coconuts, strawberries, all this good stuff. Even some wonderful whole grain bread, oats, and all that good stuff. So plenty of good things. Want to talk to you a little bit about fiber and the benefits that they have. But as always, before we jump in, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn your notifications on so that you're always up to date with the latest content here on the channel so that you never miss out. All right. And also make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fitness Charles also as well. All right. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And I wanted to go ahead and show you a little bit and kind of just define like I normally like to do and explain exactly what fiber is, right? Because you probably heard that, hey, I need to have plenty of fiber. I need to have plenty of fiber in my regular diet, right? But what is fiber and why do we need to have plenty of it, right? So as you can see, fiber is a type of carbohydrate, okay? And your body does not digest it, right? So when you are digesting carbohydrates, you are going to break them down into glucose, okay? And that's what we mainly use for energy. So when you're getting energy for your brain and your cells and your muscles, your heart to beat, all these different things, you're using glucose primarily for energy to do those things, okay? So as it says here, fiber cannot be broken down into sugar molecules. Instead, it passes through the body undigested. And the good thing about this, as it goes on here to say, is this helps regulate the body's use of sugar and also keeping hunger in check as well, okay? The other good benefit of fiber is because it doesn't digest, because it isn't actually absorbed through the body, is it's kind of like a material that's literally just pushing the foods through your digestive tract, okay? And this is what helps you keep regular bowel movements, which is super important for your health, okay? Now, as the article goes on to read, as far as how much fiber should you be getting regularly, right? Look at this, all right? Children generally are going to need between 25 and 35 grams of fiber every day, okay? Now, 25 to 35 grams of fiber each and every day, okay? But unfortunately, Americans, and this is the data that I have in front of me, and you'll probably find that if you looked up different countries, you know, depending where you're going, they're going to be pretty low, especially with this Western diet pushing more and more east, and we're getting more fast food and more dairy products, all this other stuff we don't need. But unfortunately, they're only getting about 15 grams of fiber. I've read articles that can say that's as low as 10. Okay. So again, if we're looking here, and 25 is it's kind of conservative, right? We kind of want to be around this number here for the most part. But anywhere in this range, 25 to 35, but we're getting 15 or less on average. Okay. Now, real quick, there's a couple of types of fiber to be aware of. And we have this one that's called soluble fiber, okay, which dissolves in water. And some of its benefits include things like lowering glucose, keeping your blood cholesterol low. So one of the reasons why, hopefully, if you're somebody out there who suffers from diabetes or high cholesterol, hopefully you've been given the advice to increase your fiber intake, okay? Obviously, the unfortunate nature that happens here in the States is most of the time when you are, you know, diagnosed and you're getting ready to be treated for something like diabetes or high cholesterol, the first thing that is going to be given to you by a doctor is going to be medication most of the time. And you know, that can be helpful in the interim, depending on your severity. Again, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your medication. But those things can be helpful in the short term, in the interim basis. But you're going to want to make sure that primarily you're saying, hey, I need to start increasing my fiber intake. All right. Now, The other type of fiber includes insoluble fiber. All right. Now this one doesn't involve dissolved water in water, and the main thing that it does is help move food throughout your digestive system. So when I was talking earlier about fiber kind of being like just a big push through your digestive system, this is the type that we're talking about that's insoluble in water. Okay. Now this helps promote regularity. We're talking about our bowel movements, going to the restroom. So if you struggle with constipation, all right, if you have any type of bowel issues, insoluble fiber can help with that, right? So moving on, all right. So what kind of fibers, and very rarely, y'all, you can see I'm still on the same article. Very rarely do I sit up, I search and I find literally one article to kind of break down all of the introduction that I want to do. All right. So this one was an awesome one that I found. But some of the naturally occurring plant fibers, and as we go through here later on, we'll go over where you don't find fiber. Okay. Emphasis on this word right here. You probably know where I'm going. All right. But anyway, we'll save that for later. But naturally occurring plant fibers, one of those is cellulose. All right. And this is insoluble fiber. So again, this is the type that we go back up here. That is kind of a big push to help with your bowel movements. Again, if we're talking about soluble fiber, this is more with your blood cholesterol and your blood glucose, help regulating that. Okay. So we have cellulose, which is insoluble, that's found in cereal grains and the cell walls of many fruits and vegetables. Okay. So again, adds bulk to the stool, can have a laxative effect. So again, if you're struggling with constipation, having issues with regularity with your bowel movements, many fruits and vegetables, like I said, cellulose is going to be one of the things you're going to want. Okay. You got, excuse me, you got lignans, all right, as well. Lignans, all right. Insoluble fiber that is found in corn, nuts, flax seeds, vegetables, as well. And what this does, it helps trigger mucus secretion in your colon and also adds bulk to the stool. So it also has a laxative effect, but it helps kind of smooth out the bowel movement there. Okay. Beta glucans, all right. Soluble fiber found in oats and barley, and this is metabolized in the small intestine, and it's a prebiotic. All right. Helps with your gut health. That's what we're talking about here. All right. Can add bulk to stool, but it's not really the type that's going to help have that laxative effect to get your bowel movement more regular. This is more about, again, the type that is soluble, that helps with blood glucose and your cholesterol levels. Okay. Gar gum is something that you'll probably notice as an ingredient in many foods. So if you look at ingredient labels, you'll notice gar gum. So again, another soluble type, and it comes from seeds. Okay. Not really the laxative effect, but again, as you see, blood sugar and cholesterol. Okay. Inulin as well. And some other ones, oligosaccharides, oligofructose, and fructo-oligosaccharides, right? Whew, I did pretty good on those, right? So again, soluble, again, you find these in onions, chicory root, asparagus, etc. Again, this is a soluble type, focusing on blood sugar and glucose, blood sugar and cholesterol. And as we see, if you're somebody who suffers from IBS, you might notice that you may be sensitive to these type of fibers, and this can cause upset stomach. So be on the lookout for those things, right? We also have pectins, all right? Soluble, found in apples, berries, and other fruits. Minimal bulking, a little bit, helps you out a little bit. But again, blood sugar and cholesterol again, okay? And another soluble type, resistant starch, found in legumes, cooked pasta, and also potatoes. Again, here, another example of a prebiotic helping with your gut health and can help normalize your blood glucose and cholesterol levels. So these are the naturally occurring plant fibers that I would prefer that you focus on the most. I'm not really going to cover these just because, hey, we have them naturally occurring. We don't need to have any modified versions. Okay. Now, real quick, this was an amazing list here that I found, where it talks about all the benefits with specific diseases and specific chronic diseases that are, excuse me, I'll answer that question later. um, Anywho, sorry. This was a where I lost my train of thought. This was a nice list where they specifically talked about the specific diseases that fiber can help regulate and help heal, right? And believe it or not, we've talked about this many times on the channel, right? The number one killer of humans on planet Earth is heart disease, right? And the followed by things like cancer, right? And things like stroke. These are all things associated with artery function, blood flow, general nutrition, all right? So some of the things, specifics associated with fiber and specific diseases, right? So one of the things, and I'm not going to read this entire thing, but as we go here, studies have found that high intake of dietary fiber is associated with a lower risk of heart disease and death from cardiovascular disease, right? Large cohorts of male and female health professionals, researchers have found that higher intakes of cereal fibers were associated with lower risk of heart disease and heart attacks, right? So again, we're not really going to focus on cereal fiber. Again, we want to get more of the naturally occurring plant fibers, okay? But again, as it says here, fiber attracts water in the gut, forming a gel, which can slow digestion, and this may help prevent blood glucose surges after eating and reduce hunger, and can control blood glucose and weight, which is important because these are risk factors for diabetes, which is a risk for developing heart disease, which increases your risk. So again, heart disease is on that list. Type 2 diabetes. Again, we've talked about regulating blood glucose ad nauseum already on this stream today. Breast cancer, right? So here's another study of more than 90,000. Okay, look at that number, y'all. A study of more than 90,000 premenopausal women, all right, found that high fiber intake as well as eating fiber during adolescence reduced breast cancer risk. And this was when compared to the highest and lowest intakes of fiber, there was a 25% reduced risk in breast cancer. Again, the benefits continue on. Colorectal cancer, obviously. Let's see. Colorectal cancer is another one, obviously, because it helps with your bowel movements and regularity. One of the issues with colorectal cancer is polyps forming in your colon due to your dietary intake, right? Constipation, obviously, we talked about that already as well, right? So think about these things. There's plenty of benefits to fiber, specific diseases, because remember, bowel movements is a regular waste eliminating process. All right. If you check out my video, I didn't put a link to it on this exact stream in the comments. I did provide a video on one of my healthy food videos where I talked about chard. I did also provide a link to why plant protein is better than meat. So check those videos out. But I also had a video where I talked about bowel movement. So check that video out as well, so you can understand a little bit more in detail why fiber is so important, right? So moving on. So again, we've already talked about insoluble and soluble fiber. We didn't talk about the fact that it can also help aid in achieving a healthy weight. We talked about cholesterol. We talked about bowel movements and all that good stuff. But yes, high fiber foods tend to be more filling than low fiber foods. So think about this. If you're somebody who has an issue with control on eating too often or too much, adding a little bit more fiber to your diet can help increase your satiety, all right? And satiety basically means you feel full, which makes you eat a little bit less, all right? And then obviously it's going to help you live longer. There's plenty of studies that suggest increasing your dietary fiber intake is associated with a reduced risk of dying from cardiovascular disease and all, not some, all cancers. Again, why? Why is this? Remember, bowel movements is a waste eliminating process, right? And see if I can find this part here in my, here it is. I'm looking, so what I'm doing, y'all, this is my book, The Toilet Book, where I talk about bowel movements in detail, right? And one of the things that I write in this book is explaining why bowel movements are so important. And one of the things I talk about here is the perfect poop. All right. So I talk about the perfect poop mainly because when you use the restroom, when you're sitting down, this should be a relatively passive process, right? So as you can see it right here, we're talking about the perfect poop, right? So again, before I start listing all the things that alter your poop, I want to give you my own definition of what I like to call the perfect poop. I'm literally reading. It's story time with Charles Austin here, right? The perfect poop happens when your body tells you it's time for number 2. You make your way to the restroom without haste. You take a seat on the throne. Your business is done without grunting, straining, maneuvering, or praying. And once you get up, you have been there for 5 minutes or less. Of course, there will be times where you take a little bit more or less time than described in the perfect poop, but for the most part, you want to set a goal of having your BMs be something like the perfect poop each and every time. All right. Now, remember, there was another part here I wanted to tell you. I wanted to read real quick. Is it this part here? I'm trying to find another. Let's see. All right. Here we go. All right. So this is this is in chapter 5 of the book where I'm basically introducing this topic of bowel movements, right? So here it is. Another excerpt. More story time with Charles, y'all. I'm almost done. Hang with me just a little bit longer, right? So as it says here, during a BM, which is the last step in digestion, solid, semi-solid, and our liquid waste material is eliminated from your digestive tract through an opening called your anus, right? So the main thing that I want to point out here is that it's waste material, okay? Waste material. So number 1, yeah, you want to aim for that perfect poop where you're not having to focus on straining and maneuvering and doing all this extra work to get that waste out. But that's what it is. It's waste. So if you're wondering why increasing your fiber intake is associated with the reduced risk of dying from cardiovascular disease and cancer, well, you're getting rid of waste on a regular basis, and you're keeping the good things in, and you're getting the bad stuff out. All right, so keep that in mind when you're thinking about it. So earlier on the previous page, we talked about some recommendations for your fiber intake, and we said somewhere between 25 to 35 grams. And yeah, that's cool. But look here, depending on where you go, you may find different recommendations. As it says here, men need a little bit more. We're bigger. We're a higher calorie intake. We're going to eat a little bit more food. So obviously we're going to need to get a little bit more food out, right? So these are higher recommendations. But again, stick to that 25, 30, 35 range. And that's going to be a good place for you to go. All right. So let's move on and give you some ideas of some top high fiber foods, and we'll get ready to wrap here in just a second. All right. So as you can see here, beans. At some point I'm going to do a whole stream, maybe even a whole series on beans, just because beans are incredible, right? It's almost nothing wrong with beans. I can't find anything wrong with beans for the most part. Some people have different digestive issues with certain types of beans, and that's no different than any other type of food, but beans are amazing. So that's one of the best sources of fiber, and you're also going to get protein as well, and many antioxidants included. All right. Broccoli. Whoever said anything was wrong with eating broccoli. And yes, you're also going to get other nutrients and plenty of fiber as well. Blueberries, high in those phytochemicals. All right. The darker or the brighter your fruit or vegetable, the healthier it is, the more of those antioxidants and cancer fighting chemicals, or not chemicals, I don't like that word, cancer fighting properties they'll have, right? Avocados. Who doesn't like guacamole? Who doesn't like avocado toast? Who doesn't like avocados on anything, right? Healthy source of fats, as well as fiber as well. Popcorn, which I think I'm gonna have some tonight, make it a movie night, and great snack food, easy to make. Stay away from microwave popcorn. All right, best thing you can do is buy whole kernels and get you a popcorn popper, or use a pot that you have at home and pop them that way. That's going to be your healthiest option, but that's another good source. Whole grains, all right, 100% whole grain, all right. Stay away from bleached and white breads and pastas and stuff like that. You want to try to stay as natural as possible with your whole grains. We talked about apples already. Dried fruits is another one. Potatoes, and potatoes with the skin, right? So red skin potatoes is one of those that you can eat with the skin. Many of the yellow type potatoes, some of those And even the Idaho spud potatoes you can eat with the skin. If you're eating a baked potato, eat the skin. Make sure it's washed thoroughly, all right? But you can eat the whole part, right? And then also nuts, another great source of fiber, but it also gives you healthy fats and protein as well. So again, if you haven't learned by watching anything that I talk about here on the channel, eat more plants, y'all. Eat more plants. You're going to live longer. You're going to feel better. Okay. So this one here was just kind of showing you a little chart of how much fiber is in each of some of these foods that we've discussed. And I wanted to add an additional, add some additional foods here as well. But as you see here, if you have 1 cup of raspberries, look, you're getting 8 grams already of fiber. Okay. That's just 1 cup. Okay. Remember, we're trying to get 30 grams of fiber a day. Well, look, you only need 22 more. All right. There's your apple with your skin. If you like bananas, there you go. There's 3 grams of fiber. Oranges. And that doesn't mean sucking out the juice. That actually means peeling that orange and actually eating the orange, right? Strawberries as well, good sources of fiber. We got green peas, great source of fiber. Greens and Brussels sprouts, okay? Carrots as well, okay? Even if you eat whole wheat spaghetti, okay, that's another good source, 6 grams of fiber. Oatmeal here, all right? Stay away from instant. I prefer the natural rolled oats. That's a better source. All right. But we also have quinoa, rice, rye bread. Okay. Then we're going into our legumes. Look at the fiber that's packed into these lentils and peas and beans. This stuff is amazing, right? And chia seeds is one of the greatest foods that you could eat. Sprinkle it on salads, put it in your smoothie, however you can eat it, right? Bake it in. Sometimes I like to bake it into waffles and bake it into pancakes, right? Get your chia seeds in. These are an awesome food. They have protein and they have omega fats. Awesome food, but they also are going to give you fiber, okay? And then we already mentioned almonds as well. If you get an ounce, nobody's probably eating 23 almonds at once. You probably eat about half of that. So that means you're getting about 2 grams of fiber, but hey, still getting a lot of other stuff too. So the long story is here, short, is that eat plenty of plants. You'll get all the fiber that you need. You don't have to worry about any special powders or any shakes or anything like that. Okay. Now, real quick, this was just kind of a quick little, instead of eating this, eat that when you want to get more fiber, right? So as you see here, instead of eating like this plain poppy seed bagel, you get a whole slice, a slice of whole grain bread, right? Instead of getting white rice, I would prefer black rice, right? Watch my video on foods you never heard of. Black rice is probably the best rice that you can eat. All right, so look into getting some black rice, but instead of getting the white rice, have some color with it. Red rice is another good option as well, right? Instead of mashed potatoes, maybe try some black beans. Okay, instead of potato chips, maybe try some popcorn. Okay, instead of orange drink, which you should never be consuming. Look at that, 0 grams of fiber. And for my Fit Forever family members out there, y'all know what this means. Or you will once I teach you how to read those food labels, right? You'll know what I'm talking about. All right. Spinach, it's cream spinach. Instead of that, get you some artichoke hearts, right? Instead of getting cream or wheat that's in that package and all that sugar and stuff, just get you some cooked rolled oats. Okay. Cream style corn, get you some peas, or just regular corn. Get rid of all that cream, right? Nobody should be eating jelly beans. All right, get a snack of almonds. Okay, corn flakes, get you some Raisin Bran. Watch out for Raisin Bran. It has lots of sugar, but it is packed with a lot of fiber. And then instead of don't eat hot dogs, y'all. Get you some peanut butter or something instead. So lots of different options. You can always have another option when you're trying to increase your fiber intake. Okay. So real quick, I wanted to show you some foods that do not have fiber, okay? And what you're going to notice is that let's look at the top 4 on the list of foods that literally have no fiber. So earlier on we said if we go all the way back, as we get ready to wrap up here, as we go all the way back, we said that, hey, according to the Harvard School of Public Health, we probably need about 25 to 35 grams of fiber. But unfortunately, we only get about 15 or less. It's normally about 10 to 12 in some of the studies that I've read. So why is that? Well, because we're primarily eating eggs, meat, fish, and then especially when we go to our supplements, we're not doing anything but going straight for whey protein. Now, whey protein is not really going to have any fiber unless they add it, right? Because this is a dairy product, okay? So it comes directly from cow's milk protein. So again, this is what Americans are eating a lot of, and this is why our fiber intake is so low, and this is why we're dying of heart disease so much, okay? Now, yes, there are other foods on this list that are excellent for you to eat. We got asparagus and cabbage. We got peaches and tomatoes. Yeah, some of those may be low in fiber, but they're going to have fiber. All plant foods have fiber, and all plant foods have protein. So that's the cool thing about eating plant foods, right? Watermelon, another one that's great in providing lots of hydration with water as well. So just think about that when we saw all the benefits of increasing our fiber intake, and we know that the top 4 on the list is what we're primarily consuming. And then when we start getting into supplements, we're going straight for our whey protein, all right? So again, get more fiber, get more fiber, get more fiber, okay? So real quick, I was giggling earlier because somebody asked. I mean, it was just the way they phrased it. I'm not gonna repeat it, but basically they were asking, and I kind of already answered the questions. Hopefully, if they were paying attention, I kind of already answered the question. Yes, it's time for Q&A. We always do Q&A at the end of the stream. If you got a question about what I just talked about or something else, please feel free to ask it. But they were basically asking if the things that come out of your body when you sit down on the toilet are supposed to be certain shapes and be certain consistencies and things. So anyway, long story short on that, and again, I cover all of that in this book. I go over it in all kind of detail. But yes, matter of fact, I'll show y'all real quick a spot where I kind of go over, just so you can kind of see real quick. See if I can find it for y'all. I should probably give one of these away. See if I can find it real quick. Here it is. Basically, I have this thing. There's a chart. You see that? There's a bunch of different consistencies that your stool should have. Now, depending on what you see, you may have. This one always makes me laugh. But if you ever have entirely liquid, that's no good. Okay. If it's very, very light and fluffy, that's not really good, because again, you probably have stuff moving through your digestive system too fast. So you kind of want like logs, if you will, without a bunch of bumps. You don't want pellets. All right. But anywho, cover that all in the toilet book here. Y'all can literally go check that out and get that right now. And I'll show you exactly how to get it real quick. Might as well, right? You can literally go to fitnesscharles.com, and as soon as you scroll, actually it pops up. Right now, also remember, you can go and do my 3 times a burn challenge for free just by clicking the link. It takes you straight to my YouTube playlist where I have 2 weeks of free workouts for you there. But anyway, you can literally go down to where it says books, bam, and you can pick up that toilet book right now. What am I charging for that these days? Let me go back. What am I charging for that these days? If I go to my books page, I forget sometimes. Oh, there we go. Come on, you got $12.49. That's what I'm charging for it these days, right there. So you can check that out right now and learn a little bit more about fiber and how important it is. Okay. Looks like I don't have any other questions for the day. Remember, we're going to be doing these streams every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. I will be popping up every now and again on a weekend. I used to do streams every Saturday at 1, but that became a little bit too busy for my schedule. So we're going to keep it with Mondays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Central Time. But I'll pop up every now and again on a weekend. Now, I'll be on vacation soon, so you ain't going to see me next week most likely. But then I'll be back But I will be here on Wednesday, but we'll have another amazing stream. Okay. But as always say, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on so you're always up to date with the latest content. And make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fitness Charles. And I will see y'all on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. All right. Remember, be happy, be healthy, and be fit forever, y'all. See y'all next time.